We've never seen a slasher this brutal, this sadistic, this sick in the head. This killer goes above and beyond everyone we've seen before, and his origin might be among the most disturbing of all time. What makes a slasher the most brutal of all time in horror history? Well, it's one that needs to descend into not just physical abuse, physical death and torture, but mental, emotional. It's one that really makes you as a watcher hate and root against the villain you're watching. And a lot of slashers do not do that, okay? There's some caveats here. I haven't seen the TV show Slasher. It's a TV show about literal slashers. I'm pretty sure there's a new one every episode. I'm sure there's a lot of disturbing ones there that I'm going to miss, okay? So I'm sorry about that. I'm not going to include guys like Saw on here because I don't consider him a slasher, especially after that last movie that basically turned him into a superhero. He was a protagonist. Hell no. You're not on the level of these guys. I'm sorry, mate. There are people who have similar elements to him, but are not. Honorable mentions. Freddy Krueger. Why? Why is he not on my list? Because as brutal a killer as he is, he's been turned into a comedy over the course of his series. He had all the charisma and all the horror vibes, but they ruined it. We need to mention this. I made a video about this and you guys need to watch it. This guy is a PDF file, a child predator, for God's sakes. His mother got molested by 100 psychopaths, and that affected, that could have warped his brain because he was born from that. He got abused by his father. He messed with kids and then brutally kills them. That's his origin. That's what we're dealing with here. And the movies will always gloss over it because it makes audiences uncomfortable. They don't want to get to the truth, and I understand, but you need a story with Freddy Krueger that makes him the darkest, because that's what he is. He is the darkest villain we've ever seen. And watch my video if you want to see what that looks like, okay? Scream. Why? Because it's all in the first kill in this first movie. There is not a single version of this killer that's as brutal as that first one, and I'll stand by this, okay? Billy Loomis didn't give a shit, okay? That opening when he calls her and literally tells her he has her boyfriend, kills her boyfriend in front of her, and stabs her to death and hangs her so her parents could see. It is one of the most violent of the beginnings to a horror movie ever, and it just shows you how brutal, the depths that this man was willing to go. People don't remember how brutal this opening was, man. I'm telling you, this is when Scream was at its peak. Hellraiser. Listen, I don't even know if I count Hellraiser as slashers as well, because these Cenobites are beyond slashers. They're literal cosmic entities. They're demonic entities, but they're sadomasochistic in nature. If you get caught by one of them, they will chain you up with your balls, nipples, everything. It's all for the taking. It's all about flesh. That's it. That's who Leviathan is, the god of flesh. Patrick Bateman. Again, not a typical slasher, right? His movie is not a slasher film. It's a dark, psychological look into this world of Wall Street Muppets. It's a goddamn satire, right? But this dude, even though he doesn't kill everyone in the movie, because a lot of it happens in his mind, the people he does kill, all I'm gonna say is, he don't play. He'll be taking a prostitute, going down on her, and then he'll be biting the shit out of her. He bites the shit out of women too, and doesn't just chainsaw them. He goes above and beyond. We're gonna get to the ones that don't play. Jason, Friday the 13th. Everyone knows this guy. Jason, unstoppable, immortal, probably got brought back by his mother through the use of the Necronomicon, which makes him even stronger. And he is a brutal killer because he doesn't give a shit. He'll slice your head off. The best kill of his, in my opinion, is that nitrogen would kill, where he puts that woman's face under, freezes her, shatters her face. God damn! I don't know, when did this happen? Did this happen in Jason X, or was this another movie? I don't remember. The reason why I can't put him higher on the list is, in my opinion, Jason has some of the worst movies out of the slashers. He deserves a great film. Great movies make their slashers more disturbing, dark, and brutal. Jason never got that, in my opinion. A lot of his films were campy, stupid, and a mess, and then Freddy vs. Jason as well. There is more to this killer, and he needs I know they're doing an origin story series with him. You need a great movie. And one can be made. I might make a whole video on that, all right? The Killers from the Strangers. Again, emotional, psychological, before they torture and kill you. They will emotionally and mentally destroy you, psychologically torture you by coming in and out of your place, all right? Playing games with you, and they do it to the loved ones. They do it to the romantic couples, right? And then when it's all said and done, when they've won and you're morally, emotionally defeated, they will murder you in front of your partner, stab you to death. This is brutal because I hated them. That's the worst part. I love Liv Tyler, my baby, my queen. I wanted her to live. I wanted her and Scott Speedman, Michael from Underworld himself, to live, but god damn it, they didn't do it. They didn't want that. Every single time these killers are on screen, you know you're gonna get a very depressing ending, a brutal ending, where the ones that you root for die. I haven't seen the sequels. I've heard they're both absolute shit. I didn't want to ruin my perception of how great these killers can be, because they are brutal. Leatherface. Why? Leatherface himself is, in my opinion, not one of the most brutal killers. So, as a singular entity, right? He has the meat hook kill, which is pretty freaking brutal. But it's his family, it's the environment that surrounds Leatherface that makes him more disturbing, that makes this more real than the other killers we've seen before. A family of psychopaths. They will molest you, lick you, eat you, all that shit. If getting killed and chainsawed by Leatherface is like, that's like an ideal scenario compared to being forced to have dinner with his family. Okay? That's what makes Leatherface the most brutal. He can't be high on the list because him singularly, in my opinion, doesn't even come close to the most brutal, but you gotta put him up there. Creeper. I swear this dude's a demon from hell that was sent here as a punishment by the devil. And without the ability to possess people, forced to hibernate and sleep. And that's what makes him most brutal. He's sadistic. He fucking despises humans. He uses their goddamn organs to replace ones of his own when he loses them in battle. The characters you love most, the main characters, will all die. They got their eyes poked out. This is what he does to his corpses, to his victims. He arranges them in this very like hell-like portrait painting style, where it's like an orgy of bodies. You believe the Creeper is one of the most brutal ones ever. He has all the weapons that you need to brutally destroy humans. He'll eat you whole. He literally bites the tongue out of a dude's head that he's torn off. Don't fuck with this man, okay? Now we're gonna get to the ones that they're brutal because of how real they feel, all right? I forgot his name. The killer from Wolf's Creek, who I blanked on his name. I don't know his name. All I'm gonna say is, watch Wolf Creek if you want to really hate a villain, a hillbilly villain of all people too. This dude makes a career out of torturing the shit out of tourists in an Australian outback, okay? He'll pretend to be your friend and guide you through the plains, but then he'll freaking kidnap you, molest all the women in the arena before cutting off their fingers and using a goddamn knife to sever their spinal cords like a head on a stick. This is such a brutal scene when he severs her spinal cord with a knife, paralyzes her, and has his goddamn way with her. It is disgusting. Such a despicable killer. Brutal as shit. Mutilates, sexually assaults, does terrible things to your spine. These are the things that make way for one of the most brutal slashers in freaking movie history, okay? I don't know why Freddy vs. Jason is here. I don't know why this slide is here, but I think Macro put it in because he's a fucking idiot, but I love that movie. It's goated. Watch it, right? Michael Myers. Why? Why do I have him? This seems to be like a bit of a cop-out, right? Because, oh, of course he's going to put Michael Myers on the list. I'm not just doing it because he's iconic. I seriously think that when you are as unrelenting to kill a single woman as he is, somebody needs to just call it out for what it is. You're a brutal character. You'll kill anything in your path. You'll kill anything. Children, it doesn't freaking matter, okay? And it's crazy to think he did this all because one day he saw his sister having sex and decided to murder the shit out of her. I believe that's how it started. Which means this guy, he saw his sister having sex and then just lost it. Psychopath, detached from the very beginning. That's another thing that makes him, he's cold. He doesn't have a human characteristic to him. He's soulless and vacant in the eyes. He will curb stomp skulls. He will break hands, stab you against the wall to the point where you're just there, floating on the wall. That's how hard he stabs you. And then he'll snap your neck like you're nothing. Brutal as shit, and he does not discriminate against who he kills. Elderly, children, doesn't matter. You are all victims, okay? Now we're gonna get to the ones that there is some supernatural element to it, but there's a caveat, okay? Victor Crowley from Hatchet. His mother, when his father and a nurse were having an affair, and his mother found out, and what did she do? She cursed the child of that affair to be a freaking mutant and to be just a revenant, a ghost, right? And when he grew up looking ugly, his dad accidentally stabbed him in the head to save him from bullies. This is how brutal an origin this man has. So here's the thing. He's used as the spiritual being that haunts over people who try to trespass on the specific land where he died. And the way he kills you, if he grabs a hold of you, he has the strength of Wilson Fisk. He'll rip you in half. He'll rip people's jaws off. It doesn't matter what you do. You can't beat him in a fight. He's the only killer Listen, Jason, of course, Michael, I would struggle with these people in a fight, okay? I'm a vigilante, real life vigilante, okay? Jason's unstoppable, I can't do shit to him. I do believe I'd beat the shit out of Art the Clown in the fight, but the problem is Art never dies. So eventually he'd get me, I just tire out. This dude, I ain't trying to throw hands with you at all. He'd knock my head off with a single punch, and he uses every weapon in the book, axes, chainsaws, whatever. He's like all the killers put together. But he has way more strength, for God's sakes. He doesn't care. He is just as brutal as his origin, the way he kills people. That's how I'm gonna put it. Art the Clown, he needs to be, listen, a fucking demon chose him. A demon saw him, and I get it, people are gonna be like, oh, Art is probably a demon. I believe the All Hallows Eve is not canon to the Terrifier trilogy. I believe that's been stated. So Art himself is not a demon in this. He was a serial killer with no origin that we know of that was chosen by a demon because it saw how black his heart is, how fucking terrifying and psycho he is. The bedroom kill in Terrifier 2 is one of the most out-of-pocket kills in any single slasher film to date. I've never seen a kill as brutal as that one. He's breaking limbs and bones. He's scalping you, putting salt on all your wounds, and then doing it over and over again. It's horrifying. He kills kids. He will smash a kid's face in with an axe while it's asleep. This blonde woman, this poor blonde woman, gets sawed in half from the V down, okay? And then the shower kill, where he chainsaws a dude's ass. He chainsaws a woman, beats the shit out of her first. By the way, he will punch you and break your bones too. It's not just, oh, I'm a slasher, I slash you and kill you like that. No, he will violate you in every way in the book except for the sexual assault of variety. That award goes to other killers on this list, but he would do it. Let's not act like we'd be surprised if Art went that far, okay? The sick with is disgusting. I don't even want to fucking talk about them, right? I know this is a bit of a cheap one because I don't know if he technically counts as a slasher, but the dude from Human Centipede 2, not 1, 2. This is a very, very troubled man who has an obsession with the idea of a human centipede, sewing people together, okay? Like this, where their mouths are in each other's asses and they're forced to shit in each other's mouths and all that shit. It's disgusting. Oh, this is so disgusting, okay? Brutal. He'll force you to kneel like this by cutting all your CLs, your ACL, MCL, everything. Breaking bones, okay? He'll sew you together and he doesn't care because his ultimate reason for existing is he wants a human centipede, not as a pet, not as just an experiment. He wants to fuck it. Yeah. A human centipede where they're all forced to be like this for forever, shitting left and right, and he wants to fuck it. That's what we're doing. That's what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with this in regular slasher. We're dealing with someone they're literally mentally ill. This dude, I don't know, he has a bad home life too. His mom hates him and wants to kill him, right? His mom literally tries to kill him at one point. That's how much she hates him. His mind is fucked. She finds his journal and finds out this dude is jerking off to human centipede. He's jerking off to human centipede stuff. This guy is disgusting. The way he kills people is brutal in this film. If you dare to watch it, go ahead. Just don't tell anyone I brought you here. Because I don't want to be held accountable for people watching this and having to throw up for the rest of their lives, okay? I don't want to be that guy. The one that makes everyone else look like child's play, in my opinion. Imagine if Kevin from Home Alone found a taste for what he did with those traps that he set for those burglars and got a sadistic taste to it and became a combination of Jigsaw and Art the Clown put together. That's what you get with The Collector, one of the most brutal freaking slashers of all time. Yes, he doesn't come at you with a machete like all these other slasher villains do, but he will trap every single orifice in your house with a booby trap. And the most brutal booby trap you can find. It doesn't matter if it's a bear trap, fish hooks, or liquid acid. He will do it. He's gonna rip your teeth out, and then when you scream after seeing the sight of your dead loved one, he will sew your goddamn mouth shut. Okay? That's what he does. That's what he does. And he gets off on it too. His father murdered his entire family, stuffed them all, and then put them on a dinner table and so that he could have dinner with his family. You know, the ones he loves so much. That's what his father did, and his son, the collector, was the only one who survived. So his collector went on to become like an etymologist or something, where he used it as a ruse to kidnap people, to do the same thing with them, to kill them and make them as test subjects so that he could use their bones later and turn them into insects and stuff. That's what we're talking. That's what the guy we're dealing with here. He's not a regular person, okay? His ability to put booby traps everywhere exceeds logic. You don't know how he actually does the stuff he does. It doesn't make sense. These movies have a lot of plot holes in them. You don't understand how he's able to create the sophisticated booby traps in such short amount of time he has. He's like super godlike human in this. But the shit he does, y'all, Jigsaw himself would cringe looking at this dude. Art the Clown would be like, God damn, I have competition. That's a tough one. Sick in the head. Look at those eyes. Dead eyes. Shark eyes. He is the most brutal killer of all time in horror movie history. No one, in my opinion, maybe art, no one comes close. If you want to know who the scariest slasher villain of all time is, brutal does not equal scary, okay? Watch this video here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on a mission to take over Hollywood. But the army must keep growing. If you want to suggest video topics to me, or talk about your favorite movies or favorite film theories in a community with like-minded individuals, join the Zafy Discord now. Link is in the description and the comment section as well. Join us. This movement is just beginning. We're taking over Hollywood, one coke line at a time.